The newest in a very long line of musicals and film adaptations, this Best Picture nominee by director Tom Hooper was released nationwide on Christmas Day, and in just a few short weeks has already earned $200 million. A faithful adaptation of the 1980s musical, which itself was based on the 1862 French novel by Victor Hugo, the sung-through style of the picture, which has virtually every line of dialogue being sung by the actors, can honestly be distracting at times. The music and performances are so enthralling you forget you're supposed to be paying attention to the exposition within the lyrics. With all of the A-list cast commendably singing live on set, Hooper's decision to film many of the movie's most delicate moments with non-Steadicam handheld was jarring at times. Especially so when juxtaposed to the rest of the otherwise deliberate and conventional filming style, the dimly lit Paris backdrop gloriously photographed in every scene. The plot of this 158-minute musical drama follows Hugh Jackman as a paroled prisoner who decides to care for the wayward daughter of a troubled factory worker, played by Anne Hathaway, who has been reduced to a life of prostitution, all while Russell Crowe, a ruthless Parisian policeman, attempts to track them down.
5 years for what you did, the rest because you tried to run. Yes, 24601.
My name is Jean Valjean.
And I'm Javert. Do not forget my name.
Do not forget me.
24601.
Look down, you'll always be a slave. Look down, you're standing in your grave.
Undergoing impressive makeup changes to make his character age 16 years over the course of the film, Jackman's leading performance is remarkably relatable and an engrossing one. Audiences should have no issue rooting for his Academy-nominated performance. Sacha Cohen and Helena Bonham are featured briefly as scheming housekeepers. Their delightfully fun duet Master of the House infuses this rather somber British musical with some much-needed comic relief. Redmayne and Amanda Seyfried contribute a lackluster love story later in the film, but even their above-average singing wasn't enough to truly sell their passion for each other. Despite her limited screen time, Hathaway's Oscar-nominated performance is a brilliant showstopper. Her goosebump-inducing singing soliloquy of the musical's most famous number, I Dreamed a Dream, is as amazingly beautiful as it is emotionally resonant. In that intense, intimate, uncut 3-minute close-up, she single-handedly made audiences everywhere cry, while simultaneously winning herself an eventual Oscar, frustratingly belting out, I had dreamed my life would be so different from this hell I'm living. But with 2 hours left after this incredibly memorable scene occurs, the picture never quite returns to the powerfully moving experience, falling back on unlayered stereotypes and relationships between characters that lack some importance. Throughout it all, Crowe continues his fugitive pursuit, but eventually his character seems desperate and clueless, with his singing curiously falling flat in a few scenes. The introduction of an almost completely new plot halfway through the picture was bothersome as well, but the visuals, costumes, and set design are all breathtaking. For all intents and purposes, this movie was filmed in 19th century France, even if it all but glosses over the importance or historical context of the Paris Uprising of 1832. Considering this entire overly long picture is nothing but singing, I was surprised that so few of the numbers were catchy or memorable, but rather a commendably performed means to an end. Fans of the original musical and soundtrack will no doubt love this picture, but as it was only truly incredible in a few scenes, it ultimately left me wanting more. Les Misérables, enchantingly powerful, but only sporadically. Now let's check out the YouTube comments to read some of your reviews. A 9 and an 8 for Les Mis. Your opinions were widely varied on this one, but only to a degree of how emotionally effective and how well the singing was performed. Unanimous praise was given to Hathaway's performance, while you were less than impressed with Crowe, rating the movie an awesome. As you probably guessed, I'm not a huge musical guy, but of the few I've seen, this is easily the strongest. You remove Anne's amazing performance though, and this picture is maybe a 6. As it is though, I enjoyed this picture. Despite its flaws, I thought it was great.